Hi guys, thanks for joining me and welcome to this week's episode of Saint of the Week. So this week we actually have 5 saints. They're all British saints, and I didn't want to miss any of them out because I think they've all got something unique and wonderful about their lives that we can learn from and use in our lives today. So the first saint is Saint Margaret of Scotland. Her feast is the 16th of November. She was actually born in Hungary in 1046, but she married the King of Scotland and therefore became Queen of Scotland. And she was known for her really happy marriage. She had 8 children, and I think she's a really wonderful example of the vocation of marriage. So maybe this week pray for all of the people who you know who are married. Number 2 is St Edmund of Abingdon, which is in Oxfordshire. His actual surname was Rich because his mum and dad were really rich. But he didn't follow his dad's pursuit of wealth. He instead lived a really simple life, but he was really well educated. He's actually known as the first person to receive a master's from Oxford University. He then became a priest and was eventually Archbishop of Canterbury. So he was someone who could have had a really, really easy life as a really wealthy person, but chose to live a much more simpler life and devote himself to learning more, particularly about his faith and giving commentaries on scripture. Number 3 is St Hilda of Whitby. So she decided to become a nun at the age of 33, and eventually she founded the incredibly beautiful monastery at Whitby, and she governed that for the rest of her life. And she was known as someone who was incredibly caring and loving, and was really seen as a mother by the whole community because of her generosity and the great love that she showed to all that she met. Number 4 is St Hugh of Lincoln. Now, he was originally from France, but in 1175 he was sent over to the UK to be a prior of a monastic community, and then eventually he became Bishop of Lincoln. He was known for being really hard-working. He helped to start the building work of Lincoln Cathedral by hand, and he was also a really good peacemaker and was really good friends with the kings. But he also stood up against religious persecution and protected the Jewish people who at the time were being persecuted in England. But my favourite fact about him is that he's always depicted with a swan. And that's because the story goes that he became friends with a swan, and that this swan stayed with him for a large part of his life and protected him and looked out for him. And apparently the swan would even stand guard whilst he slept. Number 5 is St Edmund. Different St Edmund this time. This guy, not very much is known about, but in the 800s, it's estimated that he was killed, and the tradition has always been held that he died as a martyr. So he gave his life for his faith. And we don't know a huge amount about him, but we do know that not many years after he died, he was venerated and seen as incredibly important by the Christian community and by the whole area where he had lived, because they minted a coin with his face on it. So he was someone who was really important to that community. And he was then buried in a place called Bury, and that's why Bury St Edmunds is called Bury St Edmunds. So this week, those 5 people were all quite different, but are all saints. You know, we had a wife, we had a scholar, we had a couple of people who were priests and nuns, and we had someone who died for their faith. And I think there's a really powerful message this week that we're all called to be saints, but we're not all called to be the same saint. So whatever it is that you're good at, whatever it is that God is calling you to do in your life, be proud of that unique purpose that he's called you to, and hopefully journey to sainthood. So thanks for watching this week. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and if you aren't already, then we're now on Instagram, so give us a follow on there. And keep praying for me. I'll be praying for you. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Goodbye.